Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Tuesday, September 5th of 2023. Hope that you guys are having a wonderful day so far. Hope that you guys had a wonderful Labor Day weekend if you are here in the States. If you're elsewhere in the world, hope that you guys had a great weekend and a great Monday as well. Well, we do have Jupiter, which just stationed retrograde, and a Venus that just stationed direct. And we're about halfway through the Mercury retrograde. So we're getting through it. But that Jupiter retrograde was certainly a doozy. I'm not sure how you guys felt it. Of course, with the moon actually coming on top of it during it, you could definitely feel the moment of deflation. And because it is Jupiter, it has a tendency to be a little bit dramatic as well. So even if things were just doing like a pew, like it might have felt like a, you know what I'm saying? And even with the retrograde, because the moon was there. So, but in any event, let's hop into the transfer for today and see what we got going on, right? So we start off the day, of course, with that moon here in Taurus at 26 degrees. It will ingress into Gemini later on today and will make the square over to Saturn while beginning its trine to Mars. But of course, it starts the day over here in Taurus at 26 degrees, and it will trine Pluto today, as well as make a nice little trine over to Pallas Athena. So we do have a grand Earth trine, if you will. And the reason why this one is actually a little more prevalent is mainly because while Pallas Athena is a minor asteroid, it has the sun here in Virgo as well with it. So it does get a little bit more power with this sort of aspect. And of course, Mercury retrograde. But with the sun here, the sun, whatever sign it's in, if there's like a minor asteroid there, it does become more prevalent. It does become more something that comes to the forefront. So we have this grand Earth trine, Moon exalted in Taurus, definitely wanting to feel good, more positive. It is in the decan ruled by Saturn, which of course Saturn's here in Pisces retrograde, and then of course we have a Pluto that's retrograde here at 28 degrees of Capricorn, still bringing some edge, and it's about to get back to that 27th degree, which is the degree that Pluto was at when the United States was formed. And then, of course, we have Pallas Athena here at 26, Virgo in the decan ruled by Venus, which has recently gone direct. This is definitely a grand Earth trine that, while we are recalibrating in many ways our day-to-day life and, probably about to have some sort of mental breakthrough, an epiphany with the Sun Mercury cazimi that's going to start later on tonight, trying to find our groundedness in all this, despite the fact that things may be collapsing around us, that society may seem like it's at its edge, that it's definitely transforming forever. You know what I'm saying? With the moon that's here in Taurus coming off of the conjunction of Uranus, this is a grand Earth trine that's definitely going to be things like, hey, you can find some grounded energy here. You can definitely feel more secure, but, things are going to be changing forever. Society is changing, it's altering right now, and it can definitely feel a little unnerving with all the energy here, especially with a Uranus that's now offline that the moon is going to be close to. There could be this element where we're almost looking for electricity. I feel like there's going to be certain aspects of our life where we're kind of taking like the defibrillator or whatever. We're like clear, doom, and it's not really jolting. But there can be this moment where we can almost have like this sort of hysteria, if you will, trying to revive something in our life that's not meant to be revived. This could be relationships, this could be a job situation, this could be just really, maybe just past behaviors, maybe habits, facets of our daily life that we may be trying to defibrillate, if you will, and trying to get it to wake up, but it's not going to quite get there. There could be some frustration when it comes to that, because I think we can all feel that's like, we need to find the things to be grateful for. I think that's what, this Taurus energy is really teaching us, is to find the things to be grateful for, especially now that we have a Jupiter that's retrograde here. So we're going to already start to feel more deflated when it comes to this area, when it comes to self-worth, when it comes to self-confidence, when it comes to value, when it comes to money, when it comes to these sort of things. Now that Jupiter is retrograde, and Jupiter does in many ways represent fortune for a lot of people, if you think about it, but it rules expansion, whether it's good or bad. So it's like, and then we have Uranus here, which is in many ways the sort of collective thought. Even though Uranus can be an individual and wants to be unique, it also can rule sort of like this sort of collective thought. Well, all of these things are turned off and everything's more so turned inward. That's the thing about this. This is a great time actually for us to really find out what we really think instead of worrying about what everyone else around us thinks. A time for us to kind of hone in, if you will, kind of be the hermit, if you will, and kind of hone in on what is it that we really want? What is it that we really think about these situations? How is it that, I'm trying to put this into words. It's a little bit hard to put into words, especially when you have a Mercury that's retrograde. Sometimes it's hard to put energy like this into words because it's pretty difficult astrology, you know. But at the same time, there's so many blessings here, but they are definitely like hidden in plain sight, if you will. I think right now we are at a period where things can seem so out of whack, so crazy with all these planets retrograde. I mean, Mercury, Uranus, Jupiter, Chiron, which is an asteroid, mind you, Neptune, Saturn, Pluto. There's a lot of energy here that is retrograde, right? And trying to find the balance in all this is pretty difficult. Trying to find, how can we ground ourselves in these moments? How can we, now that the electricity is turned inward, it's a thing too. And we have our thoughts. It's like, it could definitely feel like a weird sort of internal electrical storm and trying to navigate all of the static within ourselves to try and find, some calm and some serenity. It could be a little difficult because we may be we'll get into our head. It's like, how is this going to work out? We can get so caught up in trying to like postulate what the future is going to look at that we can get anxious, we can get very apprehensive. Because like, I don't know how we're going to make this work, or we can get really trapped in the past, and just be like, man, I wish I should have done that. I could have done this. I could have done that. What if I did that? Would things be different? We can definitely kind of go into like these sort of weird mental loops, right? Doesn't help that the moon's going to move into Gemini today and begin a square to Saturn, while the ruler of Gemini that's going to be dispositing this moon now is going to be coming into a cazimi with the sun. So there's definitely going to be this moment like later on tonight going into tomorrow, and you'll especially see it really come together September 6th. It's going to be like a bam, sort of like almost like a wake-up moment. And I think that's going to be good. It's going to be sort of like we're kind of almost like in a bit of a daze right now. And I think it makes sense because like we started to feel good with that Venus coming forward, right? Now it's direct, but it's going to stay at 12 degrees until like September, I think it's like 14th or the 10th. I think it's the 10th. I think that's what we looked at. So it's going to be here for a while, right? And now we have a Jupiter that went retrograde as soon as Venus comes forward. So it's like we finally kind of collected ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We finally kind of collected ourselves. Like we were kind of dizzy and a little bit delirious. Like, all right, well, I made it through that one. And then as soon as we kind of collect ourselves, bam, we got hit again. And we go right back into hearing the ringing. And we're just like, oh my gosh, trying to collect ourselves. It's kind of crazy. Throw a moon moving into Gemini later on today, which will be happening around 5:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, maybe a little bit earlier. And yeah, it's going to start to feel very weird. Very weird. Now, if we continue to move this forward, you'll see that come 10:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, while the moon is at 3 degrees Gemini, making a square over to Saturn, we're going to see Mercury and the sun begin their conjunction. And we're going to begin to feel that epiphany, aha kind of moment, right? While this square is happening. So That's the thing. We're going to have a Mercury dispositing a moon that's going to be in square to Saturn. Now, what is this talking about? Well, this moon in Gemini, is going to definitely wanting to, like, this communication, very curious, wanting to know different things, but it's going to be triggered by thoughts and stuff like that. So, triggered by thought patterns, mental paradigms shifts, just like in thought loops, if you will. And we got to remember that Mercury, being in Virgo, Virgo is all about habits. So it's like habitual thoughts. So this is going to be a moment where habitual thoughts are going to really trigger this moon and trigger our emotions in many ways. But with it being in square to Saturn, this is definitely one of those moments where it's like, are you going to the habitual thoughts that may be on loop in your head, right? Are you going to try to escape these things, or are you actually going to confront them? See, that's the thing about the moon squaring Saturn. It also comes down to what we believe about these thoughts, because this is 3 degrees, three, which is, Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter energy Sagittarius. But Jupiter just went retrograde. So it's not like it really helps, because now the planet that rules that degree is now offline in Taurus. So this is definitely a day where you want to be careful that if you get caught in like a mental loop, to not overly attach yourself to believing in whatever these thoughts are saying, one way or the other. That's the thing about this too, because if we can get caught up in this. Now, the beauty of this, of course, is the fact that the sun is here in Mercury, which should help to purify that. But at the same time, because it's not going to be exact, this is definitely a night where it's like, you want to just be careful about escaping too much, right? This is about confronting those thoughts, if you will, or just simply allowing them to pass, allowing them to pass by, and not attaching so much meaning to them and so much of a belief to them, but allowing them to pass. Because once you attach the meaning to it, once you attach like a belief to it, you strengthen and fortify it, and then it's going to come back around. And it just really depends upon really what the thought is, right? Because there could be positive and uplifting thoughts that raise your vibration. There could be also negative thoughts, so that lower your vibration too. There could be delusional thoughts where it may feel like it's positive, but it's really actually bringing you down. I think this is definitely going to be a moment where we have to just, instead of making any type of conclusions, if you will, to kind of allow this cazimi to happen over the next few days. And then once Mercury is on the other side of the sun and we're halfway through the Mercury retrograde, we can begin to be like, okay, kind of move forward from there, especially considering the fact that the sun will make the trine over to Jupiter in a couple of days, right? So this is definitely a moment where we really kind of want to go into observational mode. We don't necessarily want to take any type of rash action right now. We really want to just sort of see, like, okay, this is a moment of taking stock of where we currently are. Where can we find the things to be grateful for in this moment? Where have we maybe in the past, acted a certain way, or certain habits have taken over that may have, led us down a not so high vibrational path. Maybe it's a little bit more neutral, or maybe it's even lower vibrational. This is definitely going to be a moment. This is definitely going to be a day where you're going to start to feel triggered to kind of go back into habits that allow you to escape certain thoughts that you probably have been avoiding. Certain, like I said, mental paradigms that you were kind of just stuck in and you can't seem to kind of break out of the walls of. This is going to be a day that starts to really trigger that. So if you're, like I said, if you're not careful, you can do this whole thing where you want to just escape it all, because it's hard to confront those things. It's hard to look within. And, especially with the Mars and Libra too at 6 degrees, that's the thing about this. It's like there can definitely be some indecision that comes here. Mars is not as impulsive in Libra. Can't be as impulsive in Libra. It's got to weigh things out. So it's almost like a blessing that we have this Mars here, because if Mars was in Scorpio, or if Mars was in like Leo, or really any other sign, Mars would definitely be a lot more impulsive. And then you may take some actions that may really just knock you off your path, or knock you off your groove or where you're supposed to be going. So, I mean, even that's the thing about this, even with 6 planets retrograde and a major asteroid and a Mars that's in detriment in Libra, there's still some positivity here. And there's still, these gifts from the universe that are pretty much in plain sight that are helping us. There's a lot of guidance right now. There's a lot of people are really being guided by their angels and their ancestors, past loved ones. There's a lot of that right now. There's actually a lot of assistance and help in the universe right now. And I'm just kind of channeling that. And it's sort of like they're not getting involved like as much as they probably used to. They're not getting involved, but they are pretty much kind of keeping our spirits up, if you will. Just kind of lines of, you got this, you'll make it through this. It's almost like they're just like a coach, if you will. But like a coach is like, you got this. Don't worry, you got this. And it's just like, if you're open to the messages, if you're open to receiving that, then you'll be able to get through this. Because like I've been saying for like the past few astrological videos and horoscopes, we have nowhere near apex as humanity. There's this feeling that we've gotten to this point and that we can't really go much higher than that. But that is absolutely not true. We can go much higher and much greater than we are right now. But what happened is that we expanded so much to a point where now that we've expanded to this point, we still have to address a lot of the central stuff and the foundations, because when you expand so far and so fast, but you don't fortify the foundation of things, that's when things begin to crumble. And that's when people's moral framework begins to crumble. That's the other part about this too, is that we have to actually reestablish a sort of moral core, if you will, as humanity. What do we stand for? What do we do? Why are we here? These are the things like, what are we doing these things for? We have to ask, what exactly does humanity do? You know what I'm saying? Humanity does a lot of things, but what does humanity do? What is our signature? And I think these are the things that are going to be coming up over the next 5-10 years, honestly. These are the things that are going to be coming up. We're really going to start to questions like, all right, what does humanity do? Who are we? What the fuck is going on here? Is this as far as we can go? Is this as far as we take it? Or is there much more to explore? Is there much more to do? And, I think what's happening right now is that there's a little bit of angstiness. There's some because there's this explorer spirit to humanity. And it seems like we have gone as far as we can, physical landmass wise, as far as what we can explore, although I don't believe that to be true. Because I personally believe that the earth is a lot bigger than what they're telling us. But, it seems like we have gone as far as we can. This is why I think we are turning more to the inner world and how we haven't explored the inner world as much, and that there's territory to be conquered. It's not necessarily needs to be conquered because it's within you, right? But there's this whole inner world that is needing to be explored. And I think that's really what it's going to come down to. We want to go out there and break through the firmament and stuff like that and try to go to these other planets when really we know less about our own oceans and we know less about our own self and our own inner world. So we are going to be exploring that stuff more. I think with this Tuesday, you'll start to see, with a nice grand Earth trine, mind you, even though things may feel a little bit shaky, we could still ground ourselves and kind of re-strategize and come into a new understanding on how to kind of navigate this weirdness, this weird feeling that things are kind of collapsing around us, if you will, from like a larger societal standpoint. Although it feels like it's collapsing, but it's slow because Pluto is a slow planet. That's why it's like almost everything is like falling in slow motion, right? But if we get too caught up in the awe of it, then the building is going to fall on us because we're like, I can't believe this thing is falling. I can't believe this thing is falling. I thought that this was always going to be here. It's like we take it for granted. And we just, we get into our head and think that's like, we think that society is always going to look a certain way, but that's not the case. Because society changes, it shifts, it moves. It's malleable, just like everything else on this planet. Even Taurus, even a fixed Earth, which seems like it doesn't move, even mountains move. Shoot, rocks move in the freaking Death Valley, right? Everything moves, everything shifts. Even things that seem like they don't shift and don't move eventually move and shift. So we have to come to terms with that, but also realize that humans have lived through an insane amount of natural disasters and societal disasters. So we can overcome this one too. And we will overcome this one too, right? We can feel that it's happening. It just feels like it's in like slow motion for real. It's like the speed has been slowed down to like, instead of it being like, it feels like in some ways it's at 8 times the speed, and at other times it feels like it's like an eighth of the speed simultaneously. And you can oscillate between both speeds, and then that's when you get delirious because you go from slow to like that's what it feels like. It's like going from like 1 on a treadmill to like 20, like in the span of like 5 seconds. And you're just like, you're just walking, and then you gotta run. Like that. That's what it feels like sometimes. And oscillating between those two. This is why if you get too caught up in the external, if you get too caught up in it, you're going to feel delirious and like out of sorts and get vertigo and get dizzy and stuff, right? That's why you have to come to the inner world. Oh, but the inner world's a little bit scary because there are places here that I haven't addressed. There's a lot of weeds growing in this area. That area is like off limits. There's caution tape there. I have like this one little area, this one little sanctuary, and I think it's good to come to the inner world and to find that sanctuary. But there are so many areas of your inner world that, like I said, are either overgrown with weeds and stuff like that, or you just haven't gone to, that are wanting and begging to be explored. And maybe you kind of went to those areas before, and maybe you got spooked. Maybe you got spooked. It's okay. You are more than equipped to handle those areas, whether it's by yourself or through the help of other people. And more than likely, it'll come through the help of other people too, because we can't do everything on our own. So you have all the tools at your disposal to get through these moments and to explore those inner worlds, because there are inner treasures that only you can uncover. But you know, maybe the tools to get there are going to be provided by someone else. Maybe maybe you read it in a book, or maybe you go see a therapist, or maybe you have a teacher or a coach that believes in you or something like that. Or maybe someone gives you like a technique. Maybe you learn like a new meditation technique. Maybe you start to learn yoga. You know what I'm saying? You get like a yoga teacher, and that helps to unblock some kinks in your energy. It can come in many different ways, but you have to just be kind of open to, those beautiful things that people will be expressing and stuff, and see how it could apply in your life and kind of do it in your own way, and then see how that unkinks the hose, if you will, so your energy can flow better and you can not feel scared to explore like these inner worlds. Let's get into the cards, shall we? Let's see what we got. All right. I have the card of adventure. You can see this little girl kind of walking towards this little rainbow light kind of deal, everything around her. This is about, we have to go within. I think it's actually the Five of Pentacles in this deck. I'm pretty sure it's the Five of Pentacles. I can't quite remember. Actually, it might not be that. It might be like the Page of Pentacles. But yeah, adventure. We definitely could be looking for an adventure right now, especially now that Jupiter is off, but it's in Taurus too. So when you're going to look for adventure, you could try to look for it in edgy places and stuff, but more than likely you've already explored those realms before, and the only adventure that leads to is crappy one-night stands and paying too much money, paying like $50 for like 2 or 3 drinks at the bar, whatever, or like it could lead to like just weird places that you've probably already been before, and there's not really much there. Maybe just new faces to kind of replace the characters, if you will, but no true adventure. The true adventure is going to come by going within and exploring those inner worlds, expressing facets of yourself that have never been expressed before or have been expressed not to its fullest extent. And it's wanting to come out and be expressed, but maybe there's some fear around expressing them. We also have, well, it's funny, we got the card of stress, which is the Seven of Wands, but we do have it in reverse. And we also have the card of silence as well. So, like I said, this is definitely a moment where you want to take some time to yourself and kind of just relax and chill and to find a way to de-stress. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, look at this dude. He's freaking on the balloons. He's playing a trumpet and he's juggling these wands at the same time. And his monkey's about to pop his balloon too. Like, that's a very stressful ass situation. So this is, but it's reversed. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is time to kind of like detach a little bit from all that external stress, go within, and just like, that inner child is wanting to be like, that's the cool thing about the moon coming into Gemini, is that it's going to kind of give us a little bit more of that curiosity and want to explore things. But yeah, going within, silence, relax, chill. It's going to be a moment to just kind of meditate, if you will, and to try and quiet all that external noise, maybe even internal noise. Like I said, this is going to be a moment where like certain mental paradigms are going to be exposed by the sun and then burned away and purified as well. It was a great opportunity to really shift the way that we think about our life, our day-to-day life. To really shift the way that we approach, the way that we serve others. That's what it comes down to with Virgo. It's also about serving. So the only way that you can really serve others is by, first of all, recognizing that your vibe attracts your tribe. So working on your vibration and stuff like that. And then you can law of attract what you want into your life. But if you work on your vibration, that's the best way to serve humanity, is by becoming your best self, your greatest self. You can only do that when you drown out all of that external noise and even the internal noise, go to silence, and then find the adventure again. Wandering path, enjoy the journey. Life is a wandering path. It's not going to go exactly the way that you thought, exactly the way that you want. Life is a journey, and this is about enjoying the whole of the journey, right? We are all embarking in many ways on a new adventure. We all just got like a new Pokemon, if you will, and we're about to like go into the tall grass. But we've been told to never go into the tall grass. Don't go into the tall grass. Don't go into the tall grass, right? Because you're going to get attacked by Pokemon. Well, yeah, probably. But life is a journey, and This is about appreciating all aspects of the journey. No matter what way it takes us, no matter what roads, whatever, however the path delineates from what we think it's supposed to go in our head, to just go with the flow. Remember to meditate, seek silence, try and drown out all the stress, because there's no need to be defending ourselves against so many people too. Defending ourselves like this is why I'm the way I am, this is why I'm the way I do things, this is why, like, there's no need to do all that. Just to kind of just take a deep breath. That's what we need to do today. Take a deep breath, relax, open your eyes, and see just how beautiful the world is and this path that we're going down. And once we open ourselves up to that, we start to see like all the cool little things. We start to see all like the beautiful plumage of the birds. We start to see the beautiful web that a spider weaves, whatever like that. We start to see all the little cool intricacies. We start to see wow, we have there's like a beautiful flower over here that's like very vibrant in its color, and it definitely stands out juxtaposed against all the green foliage around it. You start to see like all those little beautiful details, and that's what God is trying to remind us of. It's like, when we take time to pause and chill, we can kind of come in and see all the beautiful details of everything, because Virgo is about the details too. So start to see all the beautiful details about things. And then we realize that, wow, the blessings were really right in front of my face this entire time. But the only way I'm going to be able to see it is if I slow down. If I slow down, open my eyes, open my heart to see all of the beautiful grace that's around us. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you would like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And I have decided that I will be doing the September tarot report, not today, not tomorrow, but it will be on Thursday. So I get off work at 6:15, so I will be doing it Thursday, probably around 7-ish, 7:30 or so. But it will be just like the one long video where I pull the cards for the 12 signs. So that will be on Thursday. I know it's a little bit later, but we're still going to get it done. And I think it'll still be applicable because, like I said, we have a Mercury that's still in retrograde, a Jupiter that just went retrograde. So September, we still have a long way to go. We still have a lot to do. So I will be doing that video on Thursday, so be on the lookout for that. But in any event, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful Tuesday. I will see you guys on the next astrology forecast. Peace.